Sir, a few projects such as pedestrianized streets or restoration of water bodies, they're happening in a fast pace. But you yourself have mentioned that projects such as smart metering are happening at a slow pace. What do you think is the reason behind it?
All this is, first of all, it's not like this is faster and that is slower.
There will be challenges.
No, with some projects, the planning started 6, 7, 8 years ago, even before Smart City, right? Many officials, for example, in the Tamil Nadu government, no matter where they were, they incubated some of these projects. Pedestrian Plaza is a good example. If you were to start today, you would have struggled.
Okay.
But the project, talking about the project, the concept, etc., started like 7, 8 years ago, right? So NGOs, government officials, departments have talked about it, planned and maybe failed, planned and didn't take off, then took off, then put it into cold storage. So that thought process and discussion, which takes the time, has already happened in many of these projects. Water body restoration, many of the government officials had pioneered water body restoration, NGOs had done it. So when money and pressure comes in Smart City, this got implemented, right? Some of the other projects are cutting edge. So it's not like we can say, oh, Tokyo did it, so let's do it, right? So what meter, which technology, for every technology you say, I will have another idea, right? So that any democratic or any society will have that discussion, the social good of the technology, plus do we really need this kind of thing. So it takes time, it takes some iteration. So for example, Tanjatco smart metering is a cutting edge project. When it's done, not only will it save a lot of money for Tanjatco, but it will also make life easy for the consumer and the supplier, right? So for example, today somebody has to come to your house, look at the meter and make readings. That will sometimes be wrong. Then there will be dispute. If you don't pay your bill, somebody has to come all the way to pull the plug and so on. With the metering, two things can happen. One, the idea of going and checking meter is not required because the meter is constantly sending the information. The other interesting thing with advanced cities have done is, for example, today if I tell you polar bear and Antarctica is melting, be nice, you'll say, yeah, fine, but your behavior may not change as much. But what somebody found out in Boston and other places, that if your electricity bill says, look, everybody here is using 100 unit, you are using 200 unit, your behavior changes like that. Suddenly it makes you wonder, oh, where am I putting this extra light? And so your behavior changes because of that behavioral economics and nudging ideas. When you have smart metering and whatnot, the data, Tanjatco for example, will be able to start telling consumer same thing. How can you save more electricity? How can you save money? If your meter is running, even though nobody's at home, your phone app may be able to tell you, look, something is wrong. So a lot of life could be made easier for consumer and the service provider because of these technologies. But these are easier said than done, right? So after a lot of iteration, a lot of research, Tanjatco had come up with some good ideas, good technology. Now they implement it. Same thing with Metro Water. They will be saving ton of water for the city and the citizens because of some of the cutting edge projects they're going to be doing. So simple example, water tanker. Water tanker, the guy would open and he'll, instead of 6,000 liter, probably he's getting 9,000 liter and leakage and so on and so forth. Now they have started implementing, it's already implementing. He gets a smart card and you go to the kiosk, literally like an ATM, you tap it, only so much water allocated is put into your water tanker. So cumulatively, I think this is going to have tremendous positive impact on the city. A bunch of other things they're doing. So I think some of these projects are not, yes, sure, you can say it's delayed, but it's delayed for a good reason, that these are so advanced. If it's simply a footpath or a simple concrete, we could have done it long ago. This takes time to understand and build capacity of the system. Plus, technology, the market itself is confused in many of these cases. Which one should you use, pros and cons. So it takes time.
That's important, yes. Sir, besides diversifying revenue streams, how else will Smart City change Chennai in the next 5 years to come?
So it depends on the Tamil Nadu government and the leadership. Because, for example, the leadership of Tamil Nadu government and corporation already wants to multiply all this. Because obviously people also are putting pressure on their elected representatives saying, you did a good job there. In fact, I'm surprised to see these statements. Pedestrian Plaza has come out very well. Can it be replicated somewhere? Why not? In fact, I sometimes look at the comments on this thing. Why aren't you doing it near my house? Kind of comments have come. So I'm sure the elected representative also get this input. Why aren't you doing it here time? So there's a lot of conversation happening with world banks and other funding agencies and whatnot to see how do we replicate it. So the bank and others have also realized that Chennai is a pretty good place to now come and engage in not in ETBT project but actually in a citywide way. So I think World Bank is thinking in terms of a citywide engagement, Chennai city engagement, which with two big pillars, which is the transport and water, in a big way. So the idea is to take these projects, multiply and bring projects which are missing and do it across the city.
Sir, you had also mentioned about restoration of water bodies. So in a report submitted by Chennai Corporation last year to the Madras High Court, only 5 of the water bodies were restored according to the report. So has there been any progress since then? Or?
I'm not sure which report you're mentioning, but right now I can assure you that 210 water body, many of them are done. And when I say restoration, I'm talking about eco restoration. They're not building a Taj Mahal on top of water body. From a garbage dump to a water body, from a water body with a lot of sewage or garbage to a clean water body. It involves NGOs, it involves expertise, desilting, bunding, planting trees so that public can hang around there, keep an eye on the water body. Wherever possible or necessary or should be, you put a water structure so that water goes into the aquifer. In temple tanks, for example, a lot of the roof water was taken and put it into the water body, into the tank. So there are some basic scientific things, environmentally scientific things that were implemented. Right now, about 200 odd water bodies are either already done in restoration or 80% done or in the process of getting restored. So and that is there, temple tank, bunch of temple tanks, and then Vilivakkam tank, which will be if everything done right, it will be one of the great public spaces, water bodies of Chennai, if not the country. It's a gigantic place. It was full of sewage and it's really in bad shape. And we are increasing the water holding capacity, obviously. So which means 2015 that area got flooded. One of the reasons is the water holding capacity of this tank. Now not only is the tank getting deepened and widened and so on, but also the stormwater drains are getting connected so that the water flow is in the right direction, in the right manner. And it will become a fancy public space where you will have children can come and play. There's going to be a hanging bridge with glass bottom so people can go up and down. Various kinds of entertainment and so on. So because North Chennai obviously needs more public spaces, this will be a pretty good project when it's done.